Banana and Bears Rugby Pod.
Yes, the last image. Welcome everybody. But I'm just going to tell you here and now, right? We just about got this started, and the last image, last contact I had with Anna, other than today talking about the podcast, was Saturday night. A big gangy were after making fat frogs at whatever.
Yeah.
You were at a wedding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
We had to recreate a fat frog to celebrate the win. So now, how would you have made a fat frog in the past?
it was two. It was a Bacardi Breezer, a yellow one, and was it a Smirnoff Ice? Did that make it green?
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
No, that's how I made it green, but that's what, to be honest, there was no point in the Smirnoff Ice, only to fucking add more sugar.
Was it two Bacardi Breezers at two different colours, or was it Wicked? Was it Wicked?
Blue Wicked pie. I actually, do you know when you're at a wedding and you're kind of like, I don't know what to drink because I'm full and
Yeah.
I've had all these different drinks and stuff. So I just kind of got a thing for a Blue Wicked. I was like, I have a Blue Wicked. I was like, but will you put it in a gin glass so it makes it look like,
I don't look like I'm drinking out the back of Tesco's.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he did, to be fair. And then I was like, geez, I'm really enjoying this. I was like, but I'm a bit disappointed it's blue. I wonder, because I haven't seen the Bacardi Breezer around. Like, I asked your man, he was like, no, we've no Bacardi Breezes. I was like, yeah, I didn't think so. I haven't seen them in a while. Nor a Smirnoff Ice. So,
Sans Smirnoff Ice. Oh no.
yeah. So we had the Blue Wicked in a glass with a vodka. Again, no sense of the vodka, only just to, put a few years on us, and a dash of orange cordial, and bing bang, recreated the fat frog.
And all your teeth fell out at once. Yeah, all your teeth fell out at once. You all got scurvy and gout at the same time.
Keeps away the botulism.
You don't need it. You don't need it.
Keep away the botulism. Yeah.
You've been through enough trials and tribulations, and not even botulism can catch you now at this stage.
Well, how are we doing?
Good. I was back up at the Late Show. Met Vogue Williams. She was a very, very nice, pleasant person. And I was hanging out with her brother, and who introduced himself, but kind of through gritted teeth, as Vogue's brother. Terrible nice man, and his wife, fierce nice people. Good crack. Session heads. Everybody seems to be yeah, proper session heads, and even our sisters were there. Seems nobody told me the reason why, but it would seem the sisters had been on the rip all day and were in the green room, kind of just pretty sozzled. But I just accepted it. I went, okay, all right, fair enough. It was a fun show. I got it out of there early enough, and I missed our mutual friend, Alan Quinlan. I missed him. Apparently he was on the show, being some crack, I'd say.
Whoa!
I don't care. He knows he's boring crack. With what's the lad with the mullet? The roundy face. What's his name? Byrne.
Shane Byrne.
Shane Byrne, that's it. They were on it. I had absconded at that stage. I was back down the road with. Do you know what I was taken to?
Any sandwiches?
Feck all sandwiches. But I will tell you, I have a new secret, right? There's nothing worse than being hungry and having to drive 2-3 hours at 10 o'clock at night in and around the city, because we all know, Fatso Tom, because there's so many places you can, and nobody's looking at me. This is the thing, you can eat with no shame. Do you know what I mean? In the dark, I can't even look at myself. It's, there's
I thought it was kind of your thing to get some chips.
It fucking is. But do you know what, though? There's no good chips to be gotten around that part of the world. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's in small towns where you get spuddy chips, like, where you could justify getting a bag of chips. Out around Donnybrook 4, I can tell you here and now, there aren't many places a man or a woman can pull in and quickly get a bag of proper spuddy chips. You can get them going out the Long Mile Road, if you are willing to stop on the Long Mile Road at 10 or 11 o'clock at night. But no, I tell you, I felt very smug in myself. I brought a smoothie from home. Tell you now, Aldi's smoothie mix yolks keep it icy cold.
Yeah.
and give it a blast in a ninja, an old scoop of protein to give it an old bit of chicken in. I swear to God, it kept me wide awake driving down the road, and I felt fulfilled because it's fucking lovely. I was fair smug by the time I got home. I was like, no stinky chips in the car. Yeah. But it's just as well. There was no shagging the sandwiches going. There was nothing going the other night. Not even Hillary was on. Some woman who I didn't know, who wasn't
I knew it
pleasant
should
to me.
wear off.
Do you know what?
Saying that it should wear off. Yeah, no sandwiches. No hugs from Patrick Keelty.
Nothing. Nobody hugged me. One woman shook my hand very firmly. But other than that, it was like business as usual, Thomas. I telling if you all joke, grand, okay, follow me. He was like, oh, Jesus. This shine wore off quickly.
Yeah. Didn't take long to wear off, did it? No, Jesus.
What did they say? Familiarity breeds contempt. At least I suppose I'm part. They feel okay with me now that they don't have to put on the show anymore. So it's like, okay, fair enough. I'm an accepted one of you. Everybody just looked wrecked tired. I don't think they had it in the tank to put on the, oh my God, hello, how are you?
They had the adrenaline the first week,
which
was gone the second week.
There we go. I do think.
Take it as a compliment, but I'd rather take a sandwich.
Do you know what? I was sniffing around for the sandwiches, and even I asked Fred, I won't call the man Vogue's brother, Fred and his wife, had they seen any sandwiches? Because they were up drinking. I wasn't drinking. They were drinking at the bar. They were like, I don't know, but I'm going up for a gin for herself in a minute. I'll have a look. Feck all, he said. Because I didn't want to be the guy going up and going, with ordering no drink and going, any old sandwiches going to the... I had a fucking right to all this. I reckon I had a right to. I had a right to ask for sandwiches. I'm up there again on Friday. I'm telling you, I'm not leaving without some grub on Friday. There's something coming with me on Friday. If it's a fucking penguin bar or something's coming with me on Friday. I don't give a damn.
Yeah.
I do believe that I am I could have to get my dates wrong, but I do think I'm doing the warm up for the country special, the country music special of the Late Late.
Oh, clap. There are sandwiches that night.
This is the thing. I know for a fact there'll be sandwiches there that night. Do you know, there'll be a lot of people wearing brown boots.
Brown boots and sandwiches.
Brown
Two
boots
things
and sandwiches.
in life. Death, taxes, brown boots, sandwiches.
I'm getting that tattooed across my chest. And I stand by every one of those. There's no getting around. And then had a very early morning gig Saturday morning. And that was admittedly quite boring. Do you know, it was grand. It was reading from the hymn sheet and was finished quite quickly and then out the gap. So yeah, my day was to myself then. It was grand, but I was absolutely fucking shattered because I had 3 hours sleep. So it was kind of a Saturday of, jeez, but still you have to do stuff with the boy. And we had a bit of crack. And it's bizarre. He can actually spot when I'm kind of fraying at the edges. And at one stage, he kind of came over and sat beside me and goes, it'll be okay, Dad. I'm like, Jesus Christ. I was just fading off in the middle of the day. It'll be okay, Dad.
Their eyes closing like, yes, I will. Just give me a minute. I'll have a quick nap here on the bench.
He's like, will I make you a cup of tea? I'm like, no, you're 4. I appreciate it.
Let him make the tea. Start him young.
I know, but I'm not having to swing in a kettle around because the kettle we have, well, it's a bloody fucking thing. Costs me more than I'm willing to normally spend on a kettle. But the whole thing gets roasting hot. You'd burn yourself off the fucking thing. Like it's a metal, cool looking thing, but it's a bollocks of a yoke. The whole yoke. No, Jesus, I cannot bring myself to spending that kind of money on a yoke that just boils water. Like literally caveman times. That's all. We've only jumped from fire and fucking pots to kettles. I am not spending 200 fucking quid on a kettle. There's just not happening. I gave 90 quid for this kettle. Well, no, I bargained your man down. It was in the co-op, which I'm always wanted to do in the agricultural store that is the co-op. I bargained him down. I think he got him down to about 60. But the fucking whole yoke heats up. So if you brush off it, even after boiling, you're going to scald yourself. So I'm not going to let the 4-year-old reach up to the counter just yet.
No.
And bring down a kettle then. But in fairness, he offered, which was 90% of the way there. It was 90% of the way there. But
that'll wear off too, you know.
I know it will. But look, I will. I was sorry I didn't actually voice record it. Just on sneaky on the side, just play it for him in a year or two's time when he doesn't want to do anything at all. Although I think we've a couple of years yet where we're still okay in the cool books, but he still wants to wear every shirt of mine. So that's cool. He's like, I want the exact same as that. I'm like, you fucking joking me. I want the exact same as your one. Because this is the thing, Anna. Kids have the coolest hoodies and the coolest clothes. Like,
Yeah.
he has a hoodie now with tiger stripes and his other hoodies with spikes down the back. Like actual little spikes sticking.
Yeah.
I would wear that. That's class. Can't get it for adults.
I
And
agree. Yeah.
if you can, it's probably designed by somebody like Kanye, costs 19,000 euros, and Symbolics is wearing it in New York. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Or you have to get it in like the emo shops. Do you know?
Oh, I'm not going in there. No.
Yeah.
The likes of you and me can't walk into them place. I'm sorry. We can't.
No.
It's like the opposite to an emo. Imagine an emo turning up to a rugby match. Same thing, essentially. You can't. I can see your brain just rattling around going, I can't actually put those two ideas together. No.
Where would they stand?
What corner would they stand to go and look in?
What line would they stand on? Would they be more like around the 22 or the halfway or kind of behind the posts? Or what would they prefer, I wonder?
I think probably
all the emos are welcome. You just have to get used to it.
You know, yeah, maybe that could be our thing, is to actually turn over like people who would absolutely abhor the notion of, you know, team sports and stuff like that. It's to go, no, it's there for everybody, guys. It's there for everybody. Because there's enough weirdos actually playing rugby when you think everybody's the exact same, but when you actually play, you realize, there's loads of oddballs. There's loads
very
of oddballs.
Diverse.
Yeah.
It's a great thing about it, yeah.
I remember I used to train with a fella down in Cork, and he used to bring his parrot. He used to bring a parrot on his shoulder. Yeah. Not every training session.
What used the parrot do during the session?
He would put him up on there was a rail. Was it Christians I was playing with? I'm nearly sure he used to put him up on the rail, and he'd sit on the rail and he'd wait there till he was fucking done and showered and all the rest, and thanks, look, and bag on the shoulder. Then whoop, up he go. This great
back
parrot
onto his pirate ship.
Back.
Wah, wah.
Oh, there
See you
goes
later, lad.
Captain Jack Sparrow. He's our fullback, actually. He's great. He's absolutely he's great.
He has to change his hook though when he plays, because that's actually not allowed anymore.
Yeah, he has one made by Canterbury now. It's just a rubbery thing made by Canterbury. It's great.
Yeah. It got approved around the same time that what's his face got his goggles approved.
Oh, Ian McKinley. Yeah. Well, it looks like our Messer DuPont, if he makes it back, he's going to have some sort
Jesus, I was thinking that.
He's going to have some sort of Transformers thing.
Yeah, the see-through ones aren't allowed. I fucking went through an ordeal with that a few years ago, and I broke my nose, and I was supposed to play with the plastic thing, and it wasn't allowed, and I had to go get it approved by the referees. I was sorry I fucking said anything and didn't just turn up on the day and play with it, because they mightn't have stopped me. But they're not allowed, yeah. So you have to make very specialized ones, kind of a softer plastic. But he'll play. Jesus, he'll play for sure. Going back to Pirates there a second, actually.
Yes.
When we were over in Eel Decks for our team bonding thing, there was a bunch of pirates, like about 50 pirates walking around playing music on the beach, and there were obviously just some.
What are they LARPing?
Gang.
Or were these like Ethiopia or Nigerian pirates about to
No,
actual
like
pirates?
People dressed up as Jack Sparrow. Like about 50 people dressed as pirates. All the gear. Like
LARPing.
Full on pirates, like. And then when we were, I don't know, was it the next morning or when I was going when we went back later, there was a pirate ship parked at the port.
Fuck off.
What? In a pirate ship, and they were all dressed as pirates. Spent the weekend there and then fucked off in the morning. They were like, wah, wah, leaving in the morning. I was like, those fucking pirates. Gas.
And only you would be plagued by pirates. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, lightning almost killed you, storm almost killed you, botulism side, you just about got around that. And then you show up to the island for a nice retreat with your teammates, and there's a bunch of pirates.
Yeah.
What?
I know, playing music on the beach, yeah.
The obscurity of your life is... Like, people tell me I have a weird life, but the obscurity of yours, you're just a magnet for... Like, Never in 10,000 times of me going to Il Dix if I went there. Or
Il Dix. No, it's Dex.
Dex,
You
yes, but
bother.
I bet you do have a Kiwi somewhere on your team. Do you?
No.
No. Oh, that's a pity because she would have loved going to Il Dix. But anyway, uh,
Yeah.
it's not.
Um,
Yeah. It's as you're asking. Um, we can clean it up as best we like. We're just talk amongst yourselves there, lads. We're just checking in on sound. In fairness, it's not too bad. We're going to be upgrading. I'm making an order immediately after this anyway for some stuff. So it's going to. I bought all new sound
okay.
system for the comedy club, by the way. Yeah, it's very exciting. So
Unreal.
people will. I probably did a bit of overkill actually, Anna. One of.
Oh, sure. You have
No,
to though.
yeah, I'm going to have to wind this yoke back. Fuck me, the thing filled up the car. I won't say it. It took a lot. It filled the car, and dragging it in was like, okay, this might be a big for the room. But anyway, but yeah, I'll be
Where do you
ordering.
pick up stuff like that?
There's so many. Like there's a couple of crowds in Dublin, but it's all order online now. And there's so many friends of mine who have trialed and tested all this kind of stuff. Literally, you just text one of them and go, "What's best for this scenario?" And they go, now they overpower me with all the techie. I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. What
You're
can
like,
Tommy
yeah.
just plug in and talk into? And they're like, oh, right,
Yeah.
let's wind it back for the child man. Because I don't need to know all that stuff. But it would seem I've seemed to be learning by default nearly against myself. I don't want to be learning about it, but it seems to happen. So yeah, very excited to see will I end up blowing the fucking head off somebody at the weekend because I'm quite loud. I tend quite fucking loud on the microphone, so I need to wind it back. And
It's like,
just
when Bart Simpson buys all the megaphones
that's
and he
exactly
lines
what I
them
was
up.
thinking of. Yeah. And there's
Including you. And
a
like,
fly just buzzes by it.
yeah, the fly. You'll blow out all the fucking windows in. Where is it?
It's
Tiptown.
No, it's in Care or Care as people would for some reason seem to call it. Well, in all fairness to him, it does spell that way, but no, it's in it.
It's Cahir. I've never heard anyone say Cahir.
I know, and it's only of late people have been saying, so we're off to Cahir. I'm like, you're fucking well not. But anyway, it's actually a great bar. Shout out to the Hill. They have gone all in for the Rugby World Cup. Tom and Marie, they
Class.
have pretty much a wall dedicated to a screen. I mean, it's probably a bit of overkill, but it's amazing. They've gone all in on the Rugby World Cup.
Unreal.
But yes, fucking Pirates. I'm intrigued. Only in France, though, would you find people wealthy enough to have an actual pirate ship and be able to spend a week going around.
Like, no, there were so many pirates. It definitely didn't belong to someone. It was definitely like an event. People are like, you dress up as pirates and we bring you out for the weekend in a pirate ship. Like, there's no way that was a group of friends that owned the pirate ship.
But
no
what
way.
I'm saying
Couldn't
is,
have been.
the best you can get here is like what for our wedding we got
the Viking splash.
No, we got people brought from the hotel to the church. We brought them in. Well, I went in the 18 van, because I'm 4, and a lot of the patrons went in a double-decker pub bus. It was a pub. It was an old Irish pub that was like attached, but it was, you could see your way around it. You're like, okay, this is a bus, and you put a fire in it, and you put some diddly-idly furniture around. And I get this, but a fucking pirate ship is not something you can just retrofit to some old yoke. Like there's moolah around there. You don't build one of them yokes and go, God, I hope we get some pirates to call over.
Yeah.
Do you know?
I must look into it, actually. I must see if I can find it online and see what the deal is.
Yeah, because that is actually so up your. I know they annoyed the shit out of you that day, but that is so up your street.
No, not really. No, it was just more that they were hooting the horn early in the morning when we hadn't got a wink of sleep in the storm and the tents in the night. But sure, anyway, that was last week's story.
So they reckon Dupont will make something for his face. Well, he's not going to make it. He's not going out the back like fucking Iron Man with a hammer. But I would imagine they could have. So they haven't said is it his orbital bone? Because people were saying it was his jaw, or is it around his eye that is cracked?
I actually don't know. I've seen loads of headlines on it, but haven't read into it too much because it's a lot of like speculation as well. A lot of the early articles were like, he's out, he's in, he's out, he'll be gone. Like, but pure sensationalism, like the media loves that. So
Of course.
I was just like, Anyway, it doesn't matter what it is. It depends on like the severity of it. Some of those things can heal very quickly, or else it can take forever. So I'm just kind of, I feel bad though. Like such a shame
Oh, he's
that he
missed
got
a World
injured. Like,
Cup. Like you know what I mean?
what a
He's the Hulk Hogan.
waste.
He's the Hulk. This is WrestleMania. And he's Hulk Hogan. Like for fuck's sake. Like this is
They're fools. Why was he playing?
merciful hour. I don't know. I don't know. It's not like he needs a run out. Like
Exactly. Give him a break and give the other 9 a good chance to have a good run around. Like they've practiced enough. They know what they're about. They've had enough of a test. Like just let. Oh, I was like, you fools. I'm sure you even said it to me. You're like, when you saw that he was playing, you were like, this is a waste of time.
yeah.
Because anyway, even though they didn't do too well against Uruguay anyway, but I was just like, it doesn't matter. Just he doesn't need to play. It's not like he needs to be like, oh, we're not sure if he's going to play or not. Do you know what I'm saying? Like he needs to impress us a little bit more, so we'll give him more of a run around. Fools.
I do like how they named the team in the stadium. They have have you noticed that with the French? I don't know if they're doing it with all the teams, but they're
Right.
kind of letting the crowd say their surname, and
Oh,
it's cool. Like, and it gets to Damien Perno, and the place goes apeshit. But when it comes to DuPont, it's like
yeah,
literally like Stone Cold Steve Austin just fucking walked into and just smashed 2 cans together. Like it's
yeah,
ridiculous. They
so
drag
cool.
out DuPont for a good 10 seconds. Can you imagine being in the tunnel hearing that? You're like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Even though I'd say he's like, don't care.
well, he's French. Of
Did you
course he
see,
isn't. He's like,
yeah, did you see Damien Penault's like the video that comes up with them on the screen when their name is announced?
no, but
Do you know they're all kind
his
of
hair
like
is
making
probably
it?
blowing, is it?
He just no, he's like they're all like making a tough face or like crossing their arms, and then like it zooms in his face, and he's like making this really funny like crossing his eyes. There's a video of it like when they made the media, and they were like, you do know this is going on the big screen. He was like, I don't care. And it's like that, like when they're announcing it, Damien Peno, and he's like it's so fucking funny. I'll send it to you.
The
You
only
should
thing
look
is,
out for it.
beautiful people can do things like that. Like, I mean, he's stunning looking human. So, in all fairness, yeah, he can do that.
Yeah.
Although, speaking of which, just as a point out, Fabian Pelouse was a shot of him in the audience. He was at the Ireland match the other day.
Okay.
Still looks amazing. Actually, looks like a kind of and like he looks like he could have been Bond at one stage. He looks better nearly now in his retirement. Like,
I didn't see him. I saw there was loads of celebs at the game. Like Dermot
yeah,
Kennedy, Ian Lowry, and Roy McIlroy. Like, it's funny how they're able to find them. They like find them in the crowd and they record their reactions and stuff. Like, it's kind of,
I guess
it's funny.
a smart camera person, what they would do is they would already have that tracked. Where are they sitting? Where's their ticket? And they
Yeah,
go,
yeah.
oh, they're in. And because you'd make your notes. One of the best thing that I love, and it's
How would
so
you know where Dermot Kennedy's ticket is? How would you know that?
well, but I mean, you're an official camera person. You're going to get that sort of details. Like
Yeah.
if you go to get to the bottom of it, like you're going to get those details. Like, and you would
How though? How would you do that?
do with due diligence, as they say. You would.
Yeah.
You'd have your list of things. What do I want? I want to catch. Okay, I want to catch some beautiful people. I want to catch some kids having a good time, and I need to see some people crying at the end. Oh, that's what I need to see because you need to get onto the next gig because they're all. It's not just a case of anymore. Just point the camera and just smoke a fag. Now you got to
I
tell a
know.
story as a camera person. Like so, whatever
But
you.
that you were saying about the slow-mo HD close-ups of like the people who score the tries and stuff,
Your
which
man,
is
the pipes run on the fucking screen. Yeah,
still
yeah,
going
yeah.
on with it. Like one of them's going to get taken out of it, but like it's really cool the way they're doing it for the fans as well. Like I actually, when we were watching the match on Saturday, my friend was like, "That's such a cool shot of like you and your friends at the game." I was like, "Oh, I
Yeah,
was like, I wish I
yeah.
was at the game with my friends." And like it came in and it got this like HD slow mo of us celebrating. And like that's class. Like so many people would have been like, fucking yes! Like, what a cool image and memory and a video to have of me and my friends celebrating at the match.
One of the things that seems to be the theme on this one, though, and it's sad but brilliant, is like they wait till your team is losing basically at the very end, or like you've lost and you're still sitting in the stadium in disbelief, and this is all happening around you. Because I couldn't help it. There was this lad, this South African lad, and it was the heartbreak on his face without tears or anything, but it's just heartbreak on his face, just kind of looking around. As all of this is like, yeah. And it's fucking like there's way more than 30,000 Irish there, and it's just all around him. And the poor fella's lip is he's kind of can't help but sing along. He's just kind of
Yeah,
going,
I saw that. That's Rugby Pass.
is
They're
it
the
rugby?
ones that are doing it.
It's so good, but it's
Yeah.
it's so sad. Is to find the saddest person in the audience.
I know, it's so funny. They're really good at finding those people, and they found the same fella for the Australia game and
Oh,
getting people's reactions. They're just probably standing there like, that fella, get him. He's about to cry, look.
but that's good TV. I don't care. That's great TV and great content
Oh, yeah.
afterwards. Like,
But what's ironic about it is that, at the moment, there's this whole thing online of like, stop recording strangers.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
really like really strong message online about like, people, if you're just taking a video of like someone on the street doing something funny or whatever, there's this like big tirade of attack, like, stop recording people. Like, this is like, if you go to the stadium, are you agreeing to be recorded for someone like Rugby
I
Pass? Like,
guarantee it's on. It's on. Yeah, if Rugby Pass are accredited to be in the stadium, I guarantee it's on the back of the ticket in tiny writing. I bet you it has to be. We've
yeah,
done like, and this was years ago. We've done stuff where you're just interviewing people. I've done it for like when Virgin was TV, and you just vox pops they call them, and it's just these stupid fucking
yeah,
talking head, the yokes. But like everybody has to sign a release form, and a few
yeah,
times people go, "Oh shit, do you know what? No, can you? No." And you're like, delete, on to the next.
yeah.
Some people just, so you do. So I bet you any money. And now,
Mm,
as you said, with use of images and stuff like that, people's images, like
mm,
Dermot Kennedy, like if his agent kicked up a fuss, if that was not a thing on the back of the ticket, his agent go, whoa, whoa,
mm,
whoa, whoa, you're using my kiddo's fucking image rights for you to
yeah,
make money off your content. And they go, yeah, flip over the ticket there. I guarantee
yeah,
you.
yeah.
But it
Interesting.
does. The evil bastard in me. I don't know why. I'm just addicted to this. They pick the perfect people who just sit in the silence, their own silence, but just happiness unfolding around them, and they're in this whirlwind of fucking the other team just celebrating. And it's like,
Yeah.
oh, Jesus Christ,
Yeah,
almighty.
I enjoy it. It's interesting, but it shows like just how the fans. Speaking of, oh yeah, I actually wanted to keep this on my phone until our podcast, so I could talk to you about it, and then and I might delete it, even though it might have calmed down now. So I was obviously at a wedding at the weekend.
Yes.
Jill and Kev, fabulous wedding. We had a fecking great time, and like they had the day planned out like perfectly. And when the teas and coffees come out and the desserts, a fecking screen dropped down and bang, the anthem
That's fair.
came on. It's unbelievable.
Wow.
Like, we all
Smart.
watched it together. Yeah, it was class. And just tense enough game, so it wasn't huge atmosphere like for us watching it, but like the second half was brilliant and like the way it finished was brilliant. But um the oh yeah. Oh, we had a fucking great time. Anyway, we could talk about that later. What I was going to say was that when I got home that night, well, that night it was about 6 o'clock in the morning when we finished singing. Um, I just went online and was looking on some videos as I was getting into bed after a few fat frogs. So you
Yeah.
can imagine how I was feeling. But there's a video. It was actually World Rugby or Rugby World Cup, like the official Rugby World Cup account posted a video of Ireland's final whistle moment and to the music of Zombie and everyone celebrating in those HD images. It's such a cool video. And I just looked at the comments, and the comments, let me find it. Let me read out some of the comments for you
Yes,
now.
please. Yeah, yeah.
The comments on by South African fans like are just No, sorry, that's the noise of it there. So, like, the first comment is like, it's so disappointing witnessing the level of unfairness.
Like, I have never, anytime we've ever played South Africa, and it seems to be not South African players tend to be fairly level-headed, but South
Yeah.
Africans seem to be, I don't know, but have you seen their TV stuff? Their TV stuff is so, I mean, if ours is a bit boring, God, all right, but at the same time, it is fairly down the center. Their stuff is fucking so far the other way. It's like, I don't fucking understand it. You're like, yo, you lost by 142 points. Ref, the fucking ref. Whoa. Like, they don't get it at all. Like,
Yeah.
but it seems to be
Yeah. So,
the online
like,
people seem to be insane.
yeah, well, which is normal. I was so shocked by it. Like, Ireland played well, but South Africa has better team and more opportunities to score. How could this be unplayable? Get better refs, and then we will see who have done it. Like, on and on, loads of just really bitter comments, which you like. I get, but anyway, after my drunken, I was literally like, "This is so embarrassing," and I wrote on it, "Oh my god, the comments are embarrassing." That's what I wrote.
Yeah.
And the abuse. Right. Listen, do you want to listen to some of the replies?
Yes, please. Yeah.
One fella, Juan Wendelange says, "You name is embarrassing."
You name. Okay.
Yeah, he meant to write your name, but he misspelled.
Okay.
And then, so having a dig at banana, I suppose. I replied to that saying, "Good one." And
such
next person,
a fucking deflator. Good one. Good one.
next one was like, "We understand you are excited. You haven't ever achieved anything. Don't bottle it in the quarterfinal. Dot 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 again." Right. Um, Agreed. According to Irish fans, the engraver can start writing Ireland 2023 on the Web Ellis because they obviously already won the World Cup. Laughy face, laughy face, laughy face. Oh, haha, you think you're a celeb with that blue tick, eh? Laughy face, laughy face. It's a load of really snide like attacks at me and da, da, da. It actually won't even load the rest of them. No harm. But I had to like put up with this tirade of abuse, and I was like, "Why did I write that comment? Like, I'm such a fool. I should just left it. Like, don't feed the trolls, essentially." But I just find it really funny that a lot of the digs and jibes at Ireland are around. You haven't ever achieved anything. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, but that's why we hold the World Cup.
Yeah.
That's why
Yeah.
that's why it's on, so that team has a chance to win it. Do you know that? Or should we just cancel all the World Cups now because South Africa is the current champion and then no more World Cups will happen so that it just stays like that? Like,
Yes.
that's why we're here.
Yeah.
It's a really, like, it's kind of like an attack on Ireland that's really common. And I get it because we haven't ever got past the quarterfinals, but it's like, yeah, but that's why we're here.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Yeah.
So,
I admittedly I had a few beers. I was and I think at halftime I was just very excited.
mm,
And I did write into the comments of something like that now, Rugby Pass or something that was like, oh
oh
geez, we're
yeah.
halftime. But I went full Max Leaf on this. I don't know where I
I
left my
read it,
phone.
I'd say. I think I read it.
Oh, I went
People were
poetic.
abusing you.
Oh, they give me
Yeah.
dogs abuse for it. Yeah. You're full of your cliches, my friend. I'm like, what? There isn't one. I pride myself in not being a cliche. There isn't one cliche in that. But a lot of people seem to like it. But it was so funny the people that seem to be so angry and round with each other. I'm like,
Mm,
what are you doing? What are you doing? It's one of the greatest
yeah.
test matches that has ever happened in the World Cup. I thought Ben O'Keefe had a great
But
game.
yeah, it's always funny, like, just talking about the ref afterwards is just such a waste of time
Yeah.
because the ref has to be there. But like, I read a lot of comments around like, yeah, the ref, so unfair, unfair, unfair. But like, the Ireland were awarded 11 penalties and South Africa were awarded 9. Like, it's pretty even.
Mm, mm. And to be fair, Ireland could have gotten a
Mm.
lot more if he paid attention or the touch judge had paid attention for the first 7 lineouts where they were closing the gap before the ball got fucking thrown in. Hence why the first 4, until Ireland copped it after the first 4, there wasn't 500 millimeters, let alone a fucking meter between them. as the
Yeah.
ball was being thrown in. Could have been a bunch more.
They're doing this like, this new thing. Both sides were at it where they walk in the center line, the first prop,
Yeah,
and then takes the step out. So gives like reiterates the mark to the ref and to the touch judge almost. But we weren't wrong, or sorry, we were wrong about Ireland deliberately fluffing their lineouts, to not give anything away. Like it wasn't great. I felt so sorry for Ronan Kelleher, the
but
creator.
it was like it had how they didn't cop. I mean, you've R.G. Snyman, you have John Klein, you have two former, like they know these lads inside out. Like they knew where it was going. Like in fairness, they weren't bullets he gave either. Like they were kind of telegraphable in a way.
Yeah.
They weren't great. They weren't great darts. And like that, I felt for him all right. Now, once they kind of had a bit of power after the first four, it was like, all right, let's fucking get this in order. You know what I mean? It'd be a different story if the whole game went to pot, in the way of the lineouts. They just rectified it. They realized they'd been rumbled. That's all it was. Fucking Etzebeth was
Yeah.
up ahead of him. They'd been rumbled in the first bit, and it was a good guess by Snyman. It was guarantee it was Snyman. And John Klein ratted him out like, and class. I love that shit. I love that fucking drama. I was
They
like,
needed it. But
yeah,
what's funny is, as well, like a lot of the post-match commentary is about how if South Africa had kicked all their points, then they would have won. It's like, yeah, but if Ireland had caught their lineouts, then they would have won
yeah.
by even a bigger score.
If
So
Hugo
it's
Keenan
like
had released that ball to James Lowe, somebody if Bundy had a trail runner, he would have another try. Ireland left
but
tries out there. Like,
do you know what it's like? This whole like, yeah, but if we had it's your man, what's his name, Gino, when he's like, if my grandmother had wheels, she would have been a bicycle.
exactly.
That's what it's like. It's like, yeah, that's again, that's why we're here. Do you know? That's
But
what happens. That's how you win and lose.
it's like some people make a very simplistic notion that, well, if we scored our 8 points now, we're like, yeah, but do you not think there's a difference between holding a lead and chasing a game? Two different like if you got all your kicks, I bet you any fucking money Ireland would have gotten another try. I bet you any money. Or they would have made a drive up the field for a drop goal to get back in range.
But
Like,
also to fuck James Lowe kicking it away when we had just got the ball back. I was like,
know.
I actually thought we'd lost it. I thought we were going to lose it because we were going to give away a penalty. And he would have just kicked it then. Do you know, I was like, oh my God, this is it. This is going to ruin the wedding. But it didn't.
It's going to ruin the wedding. To be in all credit to Lowe, now rush of blood to the head, but you take the good with the bad with fellas like him. I mean, getting turnovers and then lifting it to it. I mean, talk about, he apparently couldn't even speak to the Irish journalists afterwards. And it's not because of his Afrikaans. He just literally was walking around incandescent. Like he couldn't get his head around, like was in a place where I'd say the man couldn't be spoke to, I'd say, for a few days. He was, because their whole thing is we're bigger, we're more powerful, and we're more brutish than everybody else. And in fairness, Ronan Kelleher, aside from the throws, which I think everybody got pinged there, but it was that first smash of Willemse. Smashed him. I was like, oh, we're off. I had such a good feeling when I saw that. I went,
yeah.
Now that's a statement of intent, isn't it? Isn't that lovely to see?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it was great. Enjoyed it.
Go
on.
Bundy, the player of the tournament so far, has to be. My good Lord, he is in some condition. And he can shift for a fella that built like that. Fucking hell.
I was thinking about this, but actually maybe we spoke about it last week, and this is why it's in my mind, just about the whole, wasn't I telling you that I had heard that Andy Farrell just like threw all the testing in the bin?
Really?
No. Okay, so it wasn't you I was talking to about this.
No.
So I had heard through a friend of mine who works anyway, it doesn't matter, that when they came into camp, like World Cup camp, like, in the summer, no Broncos, no nothing, no like pipping players against each other and getting in players' heads with fitness tests and shit around the rugby.
Yes,
That
yeah.
that weak coaches need to use when they can't make a decision about who's good at rugby.
Yes.
Like, so apparently now, so this could be since like uh debunked, but I did hear that there's no Broncos, no fitness tests, good training, all kind of buoying each other up, all like it's all about the rugby. The
Oh,
rugby is where
I'd
they
heard, I
train
heard,
and perform, and yeah.
I'd heard Peter O'Mahony say that. He goes, "Yeah, we did a lot of rugby in training for the preseason, so I wasn't fully sure had they thrown out the numbers altogether because that for me is never an absolute out and out telltale. Like
Yeah.
like heart is another thing, and people's reserve tank too. Like when it comes to it, like doesn't
But it's
Jesus?
all like, did you ever read? Actually, I have it up on the shelf there. Do you know your man Ben Ryan who went to coach Fiji for the Olympics? Do you ever read
Yes,
his book, Seven
no,
Seven? Have you read it? Oh
no,
yeah, very good. And so, he went out to Fiji and he had come from English rugby, which is very much about this, numbers based data. Da, 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 every player has an iPad and they all following their own data and all that. Cool. And then you go to Fiji and they have nothing, like
yeah,
bag of balls that are worn down. And he tried to kind of bring in this whole like testing, and he did and he was like, these are some of the like best rugby athletes in the world. And he did like something like a Bronco with them. And they were like huffing and puffing and couldn't turn and couldn't slowing into the ground. And he was like, what the fuck's going on? And some Fijian coach said to him, like, Ben, put a ball in their hands.
yeah,
And they did the exercise with the ball in their hands. That's all. It's the only change made. And it like changes it like this. How they turn, how they run, head down, how they were moving their legs, everything. So like the notion around like, all these numbers and shit, it's I hate it. I hate it
yeah,
because coaches use it as a way of picking the team, but you pick the team based on rugby, and like you could have the highest Broncos score and just be shit on the pitch, or be other way around, like have the heart and have the leadership and have like actual 80 minutes in you, no bother when you're playing rugby, and just your Bronco score is average. So I just loved that when I heard that about Andy
yeah,
Farrell. Like everything in the bin, it's all about the rugby. And then you see someone like, so the two players that I was thinking of was like Bundy, number one. I'd say that was just like for him, because he's
yeah,
like you say, he's shifting now better than he ever has. He's running, he's covering ground, like all that out of your head, because when he lines up to do a Bronco and he's one of those big centers, he
yeah,
knows he's
yeah,
going to have probably one of the lowest scores amongst the backs. So that's gone now. You don't have to worry about that anymore, being pipped against each other. And like, especially when the competition for the centers is so high,
yeah,
and you think that a coach might use, I mean, you're just saying Bronco as one of the examples
yeah,
for fitness
yeah, yeah,
testing, but like Bronco scores to like pip against each other and give one up over the other, when actually it doesn't actually matter because it's all about the rugby. So I feel like it suited him a lot. And then the other player I was thinking of was like Mac Hansen. Do you know
yeah.
we were talking about it
There
at
you
home?
go.
He was on the pitch in his boxers, in his terrible, rotten boxers, in this like pudgy little, not so glaringly athletic body, because they're obviously not putting an emphasis on that. Like he's such a fucking brilliant rugby player,
Yeah,
and what he brings in terms of heart and game like vision and communication and connection is so much more valuable than how actually fit you might seem.
yeah.
So I hope that's still actually true about, the whole thing about Andy Farrell that I heard, that he's like, no, that's don't care about testing. It's all about rugby for me.
Well, I suppose when you've looked at enough rugby, like he has, look at these are fellas at the top of their game. You don't need to be like he's probably. You can imagine he's going, Christ, he's unfit. You would know it off the. Can you give me 80
Mm.
minutes? Can you give me 5 80-minute games for the Six Nations? And yeah, great. Well, let's get you really like if you look at it, the down the other side of it is Manny Lebok and Jesse Creel. Like they look like they were both made in a lab. the two of them. Like, Jesus Christ almighty.
Mm.
And they completely pissed their pants when Bundy went through the two of them. Bundy went through the two of them. Like, he's not a small target to grab. He's hard to grab, but he's not fucking small. And the two of them just didn't know what to do. Manny Libok stepped out of the line completely wrong. Jesse Creel, sure, he was grabbing fucking toenails. Like, he'd know what he was fucking doing. Sure, he was all over the map. Like, but at the same time, you're like, but yet I guarantee you their numbers are through the fucking roof and probably have body fat percentages of 2%. Like,
Which, now, don't get me wrong here. I'm not saying that it doesn't serve a purpose.
Yeah.
When it comes to your World Cup camp, that stuff's done.
Yeah.
That's done. That's done in pre-season or done in the off-season. And it's nice to kind of compete with yourself to make yourself feel better. So, get to that level and then just, turn to rugby. But Ireland missed a lot of fucking tackles as well. Jesus, I was nervous about the missed tackles.
They did, but again, what I've been noticing is they seem to be okay with missing a tackle. That seems to be a theme of theirs that has made my heart skip, not of late, but maybe during the Six Nations I watched. I was like, Jesus, right, you're back around the other side. It seems to be an okay tactic. It's like, oh no, we'll get him. You can get him because there was one match there where there's something ludicrous, like 27 missed tackles, and I was like, what in the name of Jesus? But they were conceded shag all tries. It was during the Six Nations, and they seem to have this. I'll miss you on the first, but by Jesus, the next fella's getting you. And it's like they concede. They concede shag all tries, so they're doing something right. And I don't know.
They do enough to
get around the other side.
Player, and they kind of bounce off, but they were in a good enough position to slow him down. Whereas they're not going for the legs, and your man just pumps his legs and runs straight through. But it's still not. I think it's still a hangover from Tonga, Romania. Those missed tackles.
Oh yeah, like they both teams were. If anything, I think Ireland were probably percentage-wise, they weren't at full tilt at all yet, because that was their first match. Let's be honest, like that was their first match. Now you can only imagine what it's going to do. Now I saw Gregor Townsend talking today, like, and Jesus, get out the saucer and milk, Gregor. You saw that, did you? Obviously, I want to go on home.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, Ireland are just going to. They're talking about playing New Zealand. It's like, oh fucking wow, relax. Of course, people. Would you blame them?
Yeah. No, you're right. I thought fair play to him. He's right.
Yeah.
Standing up for his.
Oh, sorry, I was
team
just doing a really squeaky Scottish accent for no reason there. He was dead right to have it.
I know, but he was absolutely dead right. And like Ireland, like I say, and I don't think it could happen just based on how Scotland have been. But like, Scotland's going to beat Ireland one of these days. I don't think it'll be this team, but they'll fucking pounce on them at some stage.
Oh yeah.
Because they can pull those results out of their little haggis holes every now and then.
The little spurns. They're spurns. But they do tend to have good second halves. Scotland do, and I wouldn't. But I genuinely do believe that Ireland don't seem to be, when they say we're not looking beyond Scotland. I don't think they are. I think they've probably worked the recipe in where they're kind of going, do you know what, lads? It's just best if we keep our head down, because it's just another 15 men, but all we can do is look at what's coming next. Like, because fuck me, if we take our eye off.
To change up the team a little bit.
Yeah, it does need to freshen up a small bit, because there's a few lads like Tyke Byrne now has had there's a lot of time on the tracks there now. He'd want to rest up for a little, even if they do have a week off. But a fella like him, Peter O'Mahony.
I can't believe there's 2 weeks till the next fucking game. What are we going to do with ourselves in the meantime?
Well, we'll have to do more. We'll have to do a few rugbies for people, because we've been getting messages for those. So we will fill the time with rugby. Don't worry, we will.
We've been busy. We
will be busy. But yes, it was Australia gone home. I mean, what's been talked about, the Ireland match has already been talked about. We loved it to bits. The stadium I had for the first time in a while, and I do like my little pod here. I'm here in my little hidden pod. Nobody can see me, and I'm watching in the dark, and I can shout at everything. But there was FOMO for that game. Jesus, there was some atmosphere at that match. To give them their probably one of the greatest. The two, like, I don't know if you saw, was it Rugby Pass? They had some very nerdy looking chap. He's very good though. He seems very nice with people, but he does a lot of their stuff out in the street. But he's like this guy with glasses, and he's very unassuming. And he goes up to people, and he's like, "So what did you think?" And he found some very nice South Africans who were like, "If we could only get to kicker," you're like, right enough. Manny is a good footballer out the field. He can run a back line, but he's kicking. He pissed the bed again. Like, but I don't think that would have. I still wouldn't have seen Ireland losing that match. But anyway, they were going to these people next to them, met and cursed the guys. The guys, and the guys were like, "Oh, I tell you right now, I am going back to the hotel and having a brandy to celebrate what a fantastic victory that is." Yeah. And the guy is so super posh himself. So sounds lovely. Sounds lovely. Next thing, cut to these lads clearly from Lake the Midlands or something. And the boys are going, "Here, they talk about the bomb squad. More like the fucking, I don't know, fanny squad or something." It was the most unpoetic. It was the way he said it. It was the most unpoetic way, but it was.
Oh my God, send me that! I didn't see that at all. That's so funny.
It's on Instagram. It's one of these. Oh, it's absolutely, and it like cuts back to another like, and then I think we can tell we do, and then it cuts back to the lads again, and the other lad is like, for fuck's sake. It's brilliant how your man is so juxtaposed to how the D4 lad is speaking, Dermot. And obviously cuts back to fucking Brendan.
Yeah.
But I did. That was.
We'll have to. Yeah.
Kwanzaa, I was only waxing lyrical about how good of a vibe it seemed there. Like,
I know, it seemed so brilliant. So we always do this thing, especially after a wedding, or if you're away on holidays, or just a way of kind of connecting and sharing some stories. But especially after the wedding, now we go around the table and share our peak and pit.
yes.
So your best moments and your one of your lowest moments of the day.
Yeah.
And one of the girls at the wedding, one of our good friends, her husband arrived in to day 2 after spending the day before in Paris at the match. So we were all sharing our peak and pit. So we asked him, like, what was your peak and pit? And well, his pit was that he woke up just an hour and a half before his flight, so he almost did a fucking Anna in Schiphol Airport at it. But he was fine, he made it. And he said his peak was, and we actually shared our peaks and pits in Bordeaux a couple of weeks ago, and this was a good few peaks as well, but his was Zombie after the final whistle.
Yeah.
Like, how has that just out of the blue become so...
Well, it was Munster last during the URC. They were playing it because they were searching mad for a song. And I think the Fields of Athenry was kind of, I mean, it's a Galway song really, like, but I think Dolores being from Limerick and stuff, I think, and I could attribute, it could be totally wrong, but I think he doesn't claim it, but I remember him playing, it was Tom from Three Red Kings used to play it a lot too, over, because it was such a banger of a tune to play over Munster clips.
But it was played a lot around the Limerick GA success as well.
Was it? Well, there you go. So, okay.
Right. Alongside Dreams, because fucking Dreams is out of this world, like, for Limerick. So I suppose you could use the two of them really, but Zombie seems to have become the rugby one, and Dreams has been kept as the GA one. But it has come off the back of, well, lockdown, Limerick success, and Dolores O'Riordan passing away.
Yeah.
That was a complete revival of her music. I don't think it would have happened unless she had died when she did.
Yeah, there's actually a Korean UFC fighter. He's a veteran. He's been known as the Korean Zombie for a long time, and he has been using that song forever. And it drives the fucking stadiums crazy. He just actually had a retirement match there recently, and he came into that to Zombie. And that's what he always called himself, because he's had that gaunt kind of look that fighters tend to have. And somebody nicknamed him the Korean Zombie a few years back, and he started using that. And the place would go buck wild for it, because it's such a good song that I'm in your head, in your head or whatever. Just the chorus being so strong.
But there was a few things I want to say about the Cranberries there now. The Cranberries, first of all, are more famous internationally than we might have realised. Like,
huge,
the Cranberries are in... Do you know that film Clueless?
Yeah. Yeah.
Your man, like, listens to the Cranberries, and then he's like, the Cranberries, like, talks about the Cranberries, like, in the car, and he's singing along, like, so iconic. But then what I was going to say was there has been, or I don't know, has it been spoof? But people have been basically saying you shouldn't be singing the song because it's about the war. Shite. Like British people getting offended.
Oh well, they can absolutely go suck one for that. Yeah. I mean, I've heard a derivative of the story that because it was Miley Cyrus does an incredible version of it. Incredible version of it. Like blows her fucking lungs out singing it. It's incredible. She's an incredible singer anyway, but she sings it. And there was an interview with her, and she was like, "Why did you pick it?" She was, "Which grew up listening to the Cranberries. I always thought they're phenomenal, like, and they were so huge in the States, like." But she said it was the story of the song, and she had it that it was based. I mean, literally, it says it in it then from 90s, because I wasn't fully sure what the date had to do with anything, and then I started researching a bit more, and because it was a story of freedom and stuff like that, then mixed with, and she started got off on one, but yeah, I think to have to the number 1916 is like you'd want to be hard pressed not to get overly offended. Like, it's cryptic more than anything. Like,
it is a bit cryptic, but
yeah,
it does. It's funny that people are like, oh, you should, you can't, and like the wolf tone stuff, and like I suppose when it's being associated with the IRA, yes, I get that because IRA was a terrorist group, but like Irish history exists because of oppression from the English. Like I
yeah.
don't know why they're getting offended.
Because for a lot of them, it's the first time of hearing of it. Like they've no grasp
Yeah, I
at
didn't know
all.
about
To
it.
Ash, they've no grasp at all. And it just sounds like, why are you attacking us? You're like, well, no, nobody's attacking you. But just here's a history book. Oh,
Yeah, and
yeah.
it's our, and it's, it's funny. I wonder how you would feel if you didn't know, and then all of a sudden, you found out people were singing about. I don't want to say how much
Well, what do they think
they're
Flower
disliked. It's
Flower of
just about
Scotland?
history.
Sure, Flower of Scotland is about turning back the fucking king in a war, like the king of England in a war,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
everybody
but
loves
all
that
of it
song.
is. Everyone's fucking anthem is about how they freed their oppressor.
Yeah,
Like literally the whole
yeah,
world.
yeah, literally.
So it's probably more open to criticism when it's like a modern pop song. But anyway, we have, to be fair, we've another week where we can kind of dive into stuff because we've no match next
Yeah,
weekend, so we
yeah, yeah,
can
yeah.
get into some good juicy stuff next week now as well. But you're right about Australia. Poor Australia.
Jesus, I mean, you'd feel hard, like
Bad
you have
enough.
to feel for him, like fucking hell tonight. Um, they're gone. In case anybody's wondering, poor Australia are gone. Somebody asked a question and said if we had time, would you ask Anna? It's to ask her opinion on it. Let me just see, who was it? I think it was big time listener Davey. I'm pretty sure he.
Oh,
Where now?
Randy.
There we go. Oh yes, it was Davy Walsh. So he had a question on it because he's a soccer man and GA man, but he's a sports guy. Question for the rugby. But question that is advantages and yeah, okay. Well, this will fit in with how to rugby, I suppose. Advantages. How long did it last, or how does it work? I know it's up to the ref, but what parameters do they work off? Again, feel free to ignore it. No, we're not ignoring it. So it
Great question.
depends. It depends, doesn't it? It depends on what it's an advantage for. So if it's a knock on, there's 30 seconds on it, isn't there? If it's a knock on, a scrum.
No, it's kind of more so with a knock on. It's more so if you kind of get over the gain line. For like,
And if you kick it, what? There's a distance on the kick, and I think the ref can call if you kick it during advantage. I think it's gone. It's like advantage got
for a
one.
scrum, like
Yeah, for the
for a
scrum.
knock on. So if basically it's as simple as there has an advantage been gained or not. Do you know, if you scrum, are you going to be in the same position than if you just ran with it a few meters? Like it's the same kind of outcome.
Is there a
Looking
time?
for the outcome to be as similar to what you would get if you just had a scrum. Because if you could just kick straight off a scrum as well, like as in if you kicked it when you've an advantage for a scrum, it's kind of, you just give it away. Whereas if it was a penalty, like the outcome would have been more advantageous. So depending on where the kick ends up have you actually gotten to a better position or not? Because the idea is, if you're winning a penalty, it means the other team has stopped you from achieving something positive.
Yes. Yeah.
So you've to imagine that the most positive outcome was actually possible in that moment, and they were stopped from achieving it.
Yes.
So, for example, like one thing which is hard to spot is kind of, shitty time at the ruck, and the ref is standing right next to it, and kind of people don't really know what's going on. But if someone goes off their feet, they've basically slowed down the ball. Whereas if that ball had been available, there could have been a gap to take advantage of that is now not there because this fella fell off his feet inside in the ruck.
Yes.
If I'm explaining myself correctly.
Yeah.
So you've got to imagine that the most positive outcome was about to happen until an infringement was caused. So if a team decides to play on, and then teams kind of like, I suppose the question around, like, when they just shout advantage over, have you actually got over the gain line and won either meters, a small bit of territory, or are you just kind of going backwards? But a team will decide like whether they want to keep playing or not. Like, you'll just hear them sometimes be like, yeah, we just want the penalty. That doesn't happen that often. They'll try and win something while they have like a free trump card.
Yeah.
Like,
You free roll of the dice. Is there a time
Yeah.
limit on it, or is it kind of up to the referee?
No, I don't. I could very much be happily corrected on this, but I don't think there's a time limit. I think it's more so around how it's used.
A knock-on one is definitely not regarded. Say if somebody knocks it on, but you scooped it up and we're playing up the field or whatever. I know that there'll be advantage for the knock-on, but I think it's almost it's a lesser of the two evils, or it's a lesser of the two in that he can call advantage over. He seems to call advantage over for the knock-on.
Because you only have to kind of get over the gain line.
Yeah.
Whereas you might get over the gain line if you had an advantage for a penalty. And what I mean by over the gain line is basically winning meters from where the ruck was.
Yes.
Do you get past, if the ruck was at 30 meters out, could you get to 40 or 50 meters? Like, that's getting over the gain line. But for a penalty, it's not just about getting over the gain line unless you get like quite an extensive amount of territory, because it means that the team, you decided to take advantage of it then as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Hence why you'll often see lads, if they're inside the 22, you'll often see the out half just cracking a crossfield kick because it's worth a shot, but it has the ball itself has traveled quite a distance, but the ref will deem it if it hasn't been, if it tries and scored.
If it's gone on for quite some time and then you decide to kick it, like, the ref might shout advantage over as the kick is about to happen. It usually doesn't happen because it's kind of controversial then. But something like a knock-on now, like, let's say, South Africa was playing away and they knocked it on in open play, and there was some Irish player picked it up and literally ran like a meter or two. Advantage would be over like straight away almost.
Yeah.
Because they've taken advantage of that straight away. Sometimes what happens is that off a break like that, then Ireland might get turned over very soon after the knock-on.
Yes, yeah.
And they might run, but they might be isolated and there might be a turnover. So actually South Africa would win it back immediately, because if you're scrambling like that, like if you've got a turnover, it means you were in defense, you've now got to go into attack. You might be disconnected from your other players around you. So sometimes you've got to make sure you don't fuck it up because you've taken the advantage. So the ref's like, okay, you've taken the advantage. Now the game is open. They can win it back like straight away. So that's one thing people kind of find unfair, and they're like, how could that have happened? I thought they had advantage.
In that moment, say the ball did roll forward, whatever, off the side of ruck, and Tyg Byrne picked it up, but all of a sudden they went, they'd been crushing them all day in the scrums, and they didn't want to run it. Can he just come to a stop, put the ball down, and go, ref, can we take the scrum? In that moment, does he have to take the advantage? Like, does he have to go running back at him? Or can he put his foot in and go, we'll take the scrum, please, ref?
You can, but you actually don't see it that much.
No, you don't. So that's why
you have to be careful that you don't take off 20 meters. But then at the same time, if the 20 meters is there, you'll take it.
Yeah.
Because if you do take that,
But if you look up and you see a wall of defenders,
Oh yeah, exactly. But if it spilled out of their hands and you just fell on it, and then they came in to rob it straight away without you getting over the gain line or winning too many meters, it would just be come back for the knock-on because there
Okay,
was no
right.
advantage won.
Yes.
Do you know
I
what
want to see somebody do that. I want to see the ball travel forward and the opposition team just let it fall on the ground. Everybody stop dead and go, can we have the scrum, please? No drama. Can we have the scrum?
That would happen now if the players were like absolutely fucked.
Yeah, in my head, I'm
Because
thinking banjoed, absolutely banjoed. You're going,
yeah,
that's we'll
because
just
what happens off a turnover like that is that defense. So you were in attack, you've in an instant become the defense. There's usually a disconnection somewhere
yeah.
because if you're in attack, you're standing back. If you're in defense, you need to be in a flat line. So when there's a turnover like that,
You need to
usually there's
realign.
space
Both
somewhere.
teams need to
There's an
realign quickly.
opportunity.
Like, yeah.
Yeah. So if it was me or if it was, my teammates, you'd go straight away because you're like looking to find like the gap. You just have to make sure you connect with the people around you like ASAP. But there's usually a policy like off a turnover. We used to have like you pass 2 passes straight away to get it away from that ruck and into those areas where the other players on the other team were standing back waiting for the ball.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're in defense, so they're way further back than they normally would be. So usually you pass it twice to attack. So as soon as there's a turnover, the ball's going to move and you're going to attack in a different space.
Do you see what you've done now, Davey? You asked one question and we went off on one there.
Oh yeah, sorry about that, Davey.
No, that was fantastic.
Some kind of clarity.
No, I like it. There's rugby clarity. It's brilliant, fantastic. Hey, that was a great podcast. You have to go and meet a buddy, I think, up the road. That's
yes. Going up to Jerry Murphy's for a pint.
Oh, lovely. That's lovely. Now I've got to go write a content piece about underpants. Humorous piece about underpants right now. So there you
can write about Mac Henson's underpants.
I'm half tempted to be honest with you. The pros and cons of different types of underpants is essentially what I'm writing about. Anyway, you know what to do. Subscribe if it's your first time listening. Do hit the bell, and if you can rate on whatever platform you're listening to. So it would seem it was Spotify for a lot of time, but it seems a lot of people are listening on Apple Podcasts. So I think you can even leave a nice little review there if you can. You can actually write a review on Apple Podcasts, but that seems to have taken a bit of a spike for some reason. Apple people, whatever it is.
Yeah.
We have people in Trinidad and Tobago listening. That's all I know.
Unbelievable. Shout out to the lads.
Shout out to the lads. But this has been glorious. We will be back next week, and we promise we might do 2 How to Rugby Rugbies next week because we won't have any rugby to talk about, albeit the upcoming one with Scotland. Hopefully we'll have a bit more news. That's all I can think of to say.
Yeah.
Other
Unbelievable.
than,
everyone enjoy their holidays this weekend.
And if you need any advice on reliving, the early 2000s, late 90s in drinks forms at weddings, just go ahead and message Banana Capeless over there. She'll sort you out.
That frog's on the way, kid.
Yeah.
All right.
Ewa.
Have a great week. Good luck.
Banana and